3, 2, 1.
Dragons fighting in the sky. Shalom. I mean shalom to the home team. Are you seeing clearly yet? I mean, even the imaginable, the unimaginable becomes reality. At some point, you start looking up. At some point, you start looking up. At some point, you start to look up. That's cold right there. You can actually see, wow, I mean, pay attention to the head over here. It almost looks like he turns and then he turns back. You see almost a little turn, man. I mean, this is crazy, man. More and more of this type of footage, man, is going to start popping up. You know what I mean? Dig on it. Man, that's crazy. Now look at these joints right here. You're going to see these dragons, doing circles around each other, man. Just, flowing in the skies, man. I mean, what are we seeing, man? Are we seeing the angels? Are we seeing Seraph? Are dragons angels? Guardian angels, guardian dragons? Are they waking up as you're waking up? As we're waking up? I mean, we're just surfing the wave. It's a short clip. I'm going to let it play from the top with the sound so you can hear what he's talking about. We're going to keep on digging and kind of do a little roundup on this series. This dragons fighting in the skies. Talk some more comments, talk some more Tecumseh. We'll let go. There we go.
Sorry about that. No, not these little cutesy ones. And no, not these fire-breathing, princess kidnapping ones either. Those are better off not existing at all. Like these. If you don't recognize them, they are ancient Asian dragons. I mean, you can tell by their eyes. Nah, that's just kidding. That's really racist. What I mean is, these are the type of dragons from myths and legends across Asia. In contrast to their Western counterparts, these dragons are not known to yeet people or attack a castle or chase a bunch of dwarves out of their homes for their gold. In Western culture, the dragons represent evil and darkness. Unlike the celestial images of the Eastern dragon, the Western dragon has sharp teeth and strong legs. It is said to bring harm, suffering, and fear to humankind. In China, as well as in most places in Asia, the dragon or long, as said in Chinese, is commonly the symbol of nobility, solemnness, holiness, and good fortune. Throughout the history of China, Korea, and Japan, the dragon, or the concept of the dragon, has been a part of people's daily lives. The dragon has existed wherever Chinese culture existed, and the Chinese eventually began calling themselves the descendants of the dragon. The Eastern dragon is portrayed as an auspicious creature with magical powers that coexist in heaven with gods. When Buddhists or Taoists achieve perfection, they ascend to heaven by riding on a dragon. These dragons are believed by the people to be deities. They are wise, compassionate, and watch over the people. The presence of dragons within Chinese
watch over the people. So, put that in correlation to how Christianity breaks down these angels, these men with wings, women with wings. Instead of being a fire-breathing dragon with wings, right? You have a man with wings, right? You think about all these archangels and you think about, men with wings. Michael must be a man with wings. Raphael, Uriel, all these angels must be men with wings. What's the reality? Who's watching over who? These are guardians, man. Guardians on the highest order. No matter what ether, no matter what octave you're in, go up in the heavens, you still have guardians over Israel, guardians over the tribes. You got guardians right here on the earth turf. That's when you talk about the King David frequency and the shepherd forever. You have that energy right here present, 10 toes down, fighting head up. That's that energy right here. You got the, prince over Israel they call Michael, archangel up to Yohanan to Hebrew prince. And that's another octave. That's a higher heaven, a higher realm, that he pretty much, represents as a guardian over Israel. And then you got another, representative on another octave and another octave and another octave. Israel's being washed on multiple octaves, man. Multiple guardians. Are you talking men with wings? It's more than just one thing. I don't want to collapse the wave pattern on a dragon. When you talk fire, when you talk water, when you talk air, ether, right? You're talking the earth. You can't collapse that wave pattern into just a dragon image as we think or see it. You're talking about the wind, man. You're talking about the flow. You're talking about the water, man. The breeze, you dig? So be careful not to collapse the wave pattern. When I say dragon, don't think one thing. But definitely we're digging on the guardian aspect, watching over the people.
They are wise, compassionate, and watch over the people. The presence of dragons within Chinese culture dates back thousands of years, with the discovery of a dragon statue dating back to the 5th millennium BC from the Yang Shao period. Chinese dragons are strongly associated with water. In popular belief, they are believed to be the rulers of moving bodies of water, such as waterfalls, rivers, or seas. In traditional Chinese beliefs, there are 4 major dragon kings representing each of the 4 seas. The East Sea, which is corresponding to the East China Sea.
Just right quick. I'm going to get this little part back right here because that reminded me of something.
Dragon kings representing each of the 4 seas. The moving bodies of water, such as waterfalls, rivers, or seas. Popular belief, they are believed to be the rulers of moving bodies of water, such
moving water. What did Bruce Lee say? Be water, Moving water. Don't be stale water, right? Stale water, no good. Stale water, no good. Moving water. When you think water, man, we're talking about that dragon eye. Where's that dragon eye drop? Yeah, the Hachi. How they say? Hachi Mantai Dragon Eye. Remember we dug on this. Get part 2, right? This is part 3, man. We're just doing a wrap up. We keeping it flowing. We'll always touch this in different series. The series are just to sort of combine different flows of information and knowledge that we've gathered into different things. Like we might talk dragons on a whole other series, but we'll be mainly connecting that with another kind of perspective and a couple of other just ingredients. We'll go into that, and then we'll do another series that might still concern dragons, but we'll add a couple other ingredients to take some out and see how that feels, and just flow with that. It might be a 2-part series. It might be a 50-part series, man. And we got Preston John 50 coming up, man. I'm just getting cranked up. Preston John is all this. All this is Preston John. So don't separate it. Don't collapse the wave pattern on Preston John. Do yourself a favor and don't collapse the wave pattern on Preston John. Because when you're talking, the dragon eye, we're still talking the Preston. We're still talking the Comet. We're still talking the meteor. So, all these are connected. All this is one flow. All this is the same water. No matter what the title of this particular video is, or this lesson or this flow. It's all one, just like Drop Nation is all one. You know what I mean? That's why we ethering up, we tribing up, you know what I mean? Shalom to the tribe. Peace and power. Let go, man. I let go, man. And we're talking to Haki and Manti Dragonite. So just like you just kicked, you know, the dragons are rulers of certain bodies of water, right? And you got this sort of eye popping open, you know, and it only pops open like this on optimum conditions, they say, but they still say, oh, it's a phenomenon. I mean, it's an eye. It's like a beautiful, they say, dragon eye. You know, some mythology, right, is that the dragons became the landscape. In many cases, they had an opportunity to become the earth itself, right? Or really, you could say the whole earth is a dragon when you really look at it. You know what I mean? When they say Tiamat and all that, I mean, it's all dragon talk. So, yeah, you're pretty much just, there's nowhere to go. You just got to accept that there's a flow, the ether, you know what I mean? And the dragon has always been connected with, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, get down and lay down freedom. You know what I mean? You're just talking about power, energy, but where's this power coming from? That's the issue, is that, you know, folks venerate it so much that they disconnect it from the source. They go after, oh, look how beautiful this dragon is, and they disconnected that it's a source. It has a source. And the source is the everlasting water, you know what I'm saying? The breath of security, the breath of revelation, the foundational revelation. You know what I mean? The Hawa. So we dug on this Haki Mantai. All right, Dragon Eye. Haki Mantai. Iwati. And, you know, from there, connected us a couple places, but where I want to dig on now is that Nambu clan, right? It took us to the Nambu. And that got us reconning different clans that's popping off around this time period. Because it all comes around this surname Takeda, which is basically like another version of Prester. You know, this title of Takada started up, representing this priest chief. Another, you know, version of the same story. Duplications. I mean, it seems like the same story. Then you start going into this, and you compare this with the Mongol situation, and you got all these overthrows and, you know what I'm saying, alliances and different things. And it's almost like, man, one version of history, and then they got it replicated throughout the Chinese history, replicated throughout the Japanese history, probably replicated in Korean history. It's all been replicated with different rulers, different titles, but the same history, man. And it's looking like that history all connects direct to your history. Now, what's the history of everybody else? For real? Shit, that's the investigation. That's the investigation. All right, man. So, let me see. Okay. Yeah, you know how it is when we start linking all this stuff together. It's like, oh man, what was that? What was that part right here? This is linking to it was a list of clans. I was looking for the clan list. And the Nambu was just one portion of this particular, you know, entire, you know, family or dynasty of clans. Now they're connected with the Ka or the Kai province. All right, we got that. All right, you got the Musu province. It's connecting some, connecting some dots here, man. Oh, maybe it's in this other one here. Yeah, I don't know where this clan list was, man. I'm trying to be, because I want to connect it with this Takeda, Minimoto. And the Minimoto was connected to it. I mean, obviously, it's the parent house. But maybe it's going to lead me to the clan list, man. Let's see. Oh, these are members of the clan. Because they all kind of go back to this Saga Genji. All right. They all say they're connected to this Saga Genji. And you got the list of the Genjis. All right. I'm just bringing some things that maybe will connect more when we start digging on the Chinese history as well. You know what I mean? I still don't see that clan list I'm looking for. Now, this is the interesting one right here, is this Takeda clan, because it seems to be all really connected to it, and maybe... Okay. All right, I think maybe this was what I was looking at. I'm over here looking in the wrong place, but you got these branches. We just were talking about the Minamoto clan. One of the surnames bestowed by the emperors of Japan upon the members of the imperial family who were excluded from the line of succession. What else to say? And demoted into the ranks of nobility from 1192 to 1333. So you see the same time period that we're digging on, the whole Prester John drop. That particular David Salsland, that was, it said, born around that same period, 1100s, So you got this 1100 situation. You got the Prester John Genghis Khan War, 1202, 1203. All this is happening at the same time. That's what I keep saying. It's all happening. Because all this is really popping off, and that's why we can't really separate these things. Because you can't tell me this major war is popping off. I mean, some would call that war the first major world war. Of course, you got the Atlantis and Mu War, you know what I mean? But, are these all the same thing? Are these all the same thing? Shit. You know what I mean? That's what you got to, ask those, particular questions, regardless of if you could figure out the answer, just ask the question, man. Because for some reason, it keeps leading us back to the Tau. This is the emblem, right, of the Takeda clan. Now, what does that got to do with the same Andrews, right? The same Rus, Tau, the same Hebrew. The same Hebrew Tau, right? Cross sticks, mark, sign, signal, monument. Seems to be, a lot of this Tau rocking. We're saying, what does it got to do with the Prester John, Israelite war, more and more. Who keeps rocking the Tau, right? Back to the red thread. All right. Again, who keeps rocking the same Tau? So, when we keep seeing this popping up, whether it's on shields, whether it's on crests, you're just talking about you, Manaki. Even when you talk to Takeda clan, let's go back to that. Because they're just rocking the same Tau. I mean, you start seeing this stuff pop up, man. I mean, you start seeing this stuff pop up. You start seeing this copper color pop up, whether it's a mask, whatever you want to call it, it's representing something, right? Sometimes it's very black, but it's representing, these tribes. It's representing the indigenous flow. And it's, you're going to start seeing it pop up over and over again because they're just talking about you. They're just talking about you, man. So that just reminded me of that Nambu Takeda drop. Let's finish this particular part out and keep it flowing, man. We got a lot of goodies in the bag. Let go.
As waterfalls, rivers, or seas. In traditional Chinese beliefs, there are 4 major dragon kings representing each of the 4 seas. The East Sea, which is corresponding to the East China Sea, the South Sea, corresponding to the South China Sea, the West Sea, sometimes seen as the Indian Ocean and beyond, and the North Sea, sometimes seen as Lake Baikal. Because of this association, they are seen as in charge of water-related weather phenomenon. In pre-modern times, many Chinese villagers, especially those close to rivers and seas, had temples dedicated to their local dragon king. In times of drought or flooding, it was customary for local officials to lead the community in offering sacrifices and conducting other religious rites to appease the dragon. According to Chinese literature and myths, there are mainly 9 types of Chinese dragons. The horned dragon, which is said to be the most powerful.
All right, here we go with this number 9 again, right? But I just want to get this point across right here with these dragons, and these 4 of the 4 seas. One more time.
Rivers or seas. In traditional Chinese beliefs, there are 4 major dragon kings.
4 major dragon kings. Now, is it the 4 major dragons, and then there's khans that, are connected to each of the 4? You know what I mean? When you're talking about the Owaspi drop and the Owaspi, we got to get back in that because it connects some of this stuff. I mean, with this, it's like 4 different Moshes. It's like they got 4 different titles. One is called Chinya. They spell it, I think, Chyna or Kenna, something like that. But, it seems to be connected to this China, right? So he's another type of Moses. So we're talking about 4 different dragon kings. Now go back in the Book of Jubilees. You got angels, of the 4 winds, you know what I mean? So of course we're reconnecting the angelic, the guardian energy. You're talking the seraphim, the fiery ones, the highest orders of angels They have 6 wings, Khan. Now, is this a man with 6 wings? What is it? What is it? I think we're getting the picture. I think we're getting the point. That the highest order of dragon has this 6 wings. So this is a frequency that rocks with the creator that is, part of the team, you know what I'm saying? To get you and, one, to get you your freedom, you know what I mean? To get you your land back. This is the energy that always fights for you when you talk about that type of energy. What are they prepping for? What's all their super top secret nuclear such and such preparing for? High level etheric energy. High level etheric energy. Oh man, hold up. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. High level etheric energy. So you got these, dragon kings associated with each of these 4 dragons.
Kings representing each of the 4 seas. The East Sea, which is corresponding to the East.
Now remember what China is so that we can have a perspective. La China. Hold on, man. Where's my spotlight? Where's my spotlight, dog? Where's my spotlight, man? Here we go. All right. La China. India superior, right? China. So think about your orientation when he talks east, west, north, and south. If you are already in China, what's the East Sea to you? Huh? What's the West Sea to you? What's this North business? You know what I'm saying? Oh man, we're just talking Tangu. All right, let's go. Let go.
East China Sea, the South Sea corresponding to the South China Sea, the West Sea sometimes seen as the Indian Ocean and beyond, and the North Sea sometimes seen as Lake Baikal. Because of this association, they are seen as in charge of water-related weather phenomenon. In pre-modern times, many Chinese villagers, especially those close to rivers and seas, had temples dedicated to their local dragon king. In times of drought or flooding, it was customary for local officials to lead the community in offering sacrifices and conducting other religious rites to appease the dragon. According to Chinese literature and myths, there are mainly 9 types of Chinese dragons. The horned dragon, which is said to be the most powerful generalized type of Chinese dragon.
The most powerful, you know what I mean? So you have this horn business a lot of times, even related with Moses. And we got one doc that was saying that was mainly like representing, literally like these like lasers or this energy that would shoot out from his head. And they would say he had horns because of this energy, shooting out, from his head bone. It's different ways to have a dragonfly perspective, So, but yeah, this horn dragon is the most powerful, they say. All right, let's go.
Winged dragon associated with rains and floods. This dragon is believed to be used by the Yellow Emperor Huangdi to kill Chiyo. The celestial dragon, also called Tianlong, is the guardian of gods and a protector of heaven. The spiritual dragon, the Shenlong, brings rain and controls the weather. The dragon of the rivers and the seas was called Dilong. Tailong, or the treasure dragon, who is probably a long-lost distant cousin of Smaug, from The Hobbit, guards jewels and metals and is associated with the volcano. The quarreling dragon, a lake dragon that has not ascended to heaven. The yellow dragon, a hornless dragon symbolizing the emperor. The last of the 9 are the dragon kings, and we talked about that before. They each rule over one of the seas from east, north, west, and south. And here's something really cool. It seems that some of these dragons might have been caught on camera. Take a look at this. Here you can vaguely see a dragon-like shadow swimming in the clouds. And at the same time, a guy is yelling, "It's a dragon! It's a dragon! Look, it's a dragon!" Yes, we know. It looks like a dragon. Here's another one. Now, if you look closely,
one more time, man.
Dragon-like shadow swimming in the clouds. And at the same time, a guy is yelling, "It's a dragon! It's a dragon! Look, it's a dragon!" Yes, we know it looks like a dragon.
Wow. It almost look like he's moving his neck and his head bone straight and then to the right, checking it out, moving in the clouds. Remember them, you know what I'm saying? Moshe was following this cloud. Cloud by day, fiery pillar by night. Uh-oh.
Here's another one. Now, if you look closely, you can actually make out two dragons circling each other within the clouds. But not all dragons roam in the clouds. Sometimes they can be in your neighborhood, like this one here. This seems to be a security camera. Whoa, that was pretty fast. Let's slow this down and take a look again here. You see that? It's pretty transparent, but we can definitely make out the head of the dragon and the thin tail. Okay, what do you think? Are you convinced, or do you believe that these videos were just a cool cloud, funny lights, and maybe a transparent lizard? Here's what I believe, and feel free to not agree with me. This is just my opinion. I do believe that dragons exist, not just because I've seen too many Pixar movies, but I think there are elements of truth to all myths and legends. Some are very exaggerated, but some, they sort of make sense, at least to me. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Now this is a brand new channel where we will be exploring the awesomeness that is Chinese culture.
I mean, you tell me. You tell me. But shout out to Strictly Dumpling. Alright, man. Do your thing. Do your thing, Strictly Dumpling. Do your thing. Alright, so let's do a quick roundup. Again, go get part 1 and 2. Dig on it. This is the way of Melchizedek. Melchi, remember, king, Zedek, priest king. We're always talking Prester, right? We're talking Dragon, right? We're talking Dracan. So if we're talking Melchizedek, we're talking priest king. We know we're talking Prester, priest, or meteor, right? And we're talking about that in comparison with these comments everyone's seeing. And some of these comments in history are known to have been seen for 200 days straight, or, stop and change directions. We're seeing all these, different examples of, comets doing very strange things these days, right? I mean, we're seeing some weird stuff in the sky, man. Some strange comet activity. And people keep saying, is this some type of space junk or, rock that comes around every so, this big rock? Or are they measuring the orbits, so-called orbits, or just the flow of these dragons? Because when you're talking dragon, that's all you're talking about is a meteor. So let's talk meteors, let's talk comets, right? Oh yeah, I want to get a full copy of this, man. I've been looking for it. Been coming up short so far. I'm trying to get this though, because clearly they be blocking me off, man, blocking us off. I thought I got it. Sometimes see, I'm about to say, sometimes when you go back and forth, you can unlock it somehow, man. All right, let's start right here then. Shit, we earned it. We earned it. Uh-oh, can I get this one? Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, let's go. I'll take what I can get. They're picking up in a place that's should be familiar to you, you know what I mean, if you got the previous parts. But let's go. Michael the Syrian. Okay. The sun became dark, and its darkness had lasted 18 months. So something about, you know, this Dracan, right? Whether you're talking a comet, whether you're talking, you know, some type of eclipse that put you in darkness for a year and a half. You're talking about this atmospheric phenomena, man. All you're talking about is the angelic presence and a etheric energy connected with the creator that rocks with the creator, that does the work of the creator, that you know what I'm saying, sings praise, holy, 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 like the high level seraph, holy, 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 like it says in Isaiah. The sun became dark, and its darkness had lasted 18 months. Each day it shone for about 4 hours, and still this light was only a feeble shadow. The fruits did not ripen, and the wine tastes like sour grapes. In the September 1999 issue of Universe, an article published by Greg Bryant titled "The Dark Ages, Were They Darker Than We Imagine?" So when you talk Dark Ages, again, you know, you're talking a lot of, you know, Golden Age situation with Israel, but you're also talking, you know, this type of atmospheric phenomena. You know, were they darker than we imagine? Bryant had a differing opinion that those of those in the researchers of Los Alamos to what caused this darkness. Both are correct in their conclusion of the worldwide catastrophe in 536 AD. So that's what we've been talking about. Get the last drop, man. All right. And you know, it was a serious situation around this atmospheric phenomena, you know what I mean? Cataclysms. In this particular year, 536. And then we connected it with the Greek timeline, and we said, all right, which timeline is more accurate, you know what I mean? And love to the Templar, you know, we connected it, you know, into the 800s scenario. Was it 828 or something like that? And then we did the math with the calculator, you know what I mean? And added with the time shift. So we did all the chronology before. So that's why I say get the drop, because we connected that last time with chronology a lot. This time we're going to, you know, surf the wave, you know, on some other topics, man, and connect it with this particular, you know, flow to see where the phantoms and duplicates are, you know, in the catastrophes. You know, we're talking one major catastrophe that happened that was sliced and diced and dropped off in different, you know, ages, you know what I mean, in different, you know, periods of time, but that all belong to one particular event. Or, you know, we're talking, you know, a few, you know, multiples here. I mean, what's the drop, man? All right, these are the questions. So 536 really became an interesting, you know, pivot point. Especially, you know, we started digging on the Hohokam, Anasazi, you know, this particular cultivation that was going on, and really migration that ended up happening, connected with the flood of 899. And we weren't that far off. I think we got like 869 when we, you know, started putting our timeline back together last time, man. So when we talked to 536, so-called cataclysm, and remember we got that drop that said the climate change and how it wasn't just, you know, some random event, that the climate seemed to change because of the fall, you know, of these particular indigenous people. Like something about you falling created this global, like, you know, ice age. I mean, you know, if you want to look at it like that. Love to Natural by Law, man, who's in my jig have been, you know, digging on this ether so much, and Natural's been talking about the heat. In the ether, he been talking about the heat that that our melanin give off. You know what I mean? It's deep. You know what I mean? But we give off heat. You know what I mean? When there's a mass dying of us, the whole world goes into, mad, frozen scenario, you know what I mean? Because of the lack of heat of a plague. I mean, however you want to look at it, something's going down connected with the indigenous people and the fall of the empires here, man. The fall of the seed. At the end of the day, again, you're talking this great flood of 899. We connected this as well to the Mount Roraima and the fall of that tree, and how the Piedmont Indians and the indigenous people there say the fall of the tree created the flood. The fall of the tree created this catastrophe. But what really went down, you know what I mean, in 536. Okay. Dragons fought in the pond. So what really went down at 536? All right, that's what we're just quoting from Michael the Syrian. This is what we got before. 1246 records, all right, records that in the year 848 of the Greeks, which is 536 AD. All right, so, getting up to the Templar, we said, well, which one are we using? If the Greeks, kept better, records of history or we're trying to find some accuracy here. We also see a 300-year time shift. So either way, we could be in either year. Just adding that 300 time shift. Remember your time shifts, 333 years, 778 years to be exact. Before that is 1,053 or 54. All right, so 333, 1,054, and 1,778. Those are the specific time shifts, but we have, many time shifts in between that. So it doesn't have to be 333. It could be 417 year time shift. Either way, that's going to give you some type of grounding. So you can, say, okay, let me add 300 years to this and see if there's any phantoms and duplicates. You can start doing the phantom and duplicate challenge. Love to Yosef the Real, who's been absolutely slaying the hijack in the timelines, man, live in the ether. Can't wait to be back live in the ether, man. We're popping off November 15th, right on the Shabbat for the Shabbat show. Don't be late, man. We gonna be there in the ether. Download the app. Make sure your sister download the app. Your brother and your cousins download the app. Tell the homies down the street. Tell everybody on the block. Download the app. 432 to try. Let go. We in the ether. We talking 546, right? Or 536. 536. So this sun was dark, and its darkness lasted 18 months. 18 months of darkness in 536. The ice core samples clearly show actually two very large sulfate peaks that occur with volcanoes. Of course, you got this drop with these dragons, connected and correlated with volcanoes. So he said, are the volcanoes really the dragon layers? You got Hawaii, the ring of fire. Is that all just dragon layers? Is that what the ring of fire is? The first took place during 537, and the second follows in 541 to 542 AD. Therefore, once again, we may be dealing with multiple volcanic eruptions. Multiple dragons popping off. Is that related to what they're seeing in the sky? Are they coming from the water? Are they popping off out the volcano? Contemporary historians mentioned above have provided contemporary accounts of this dramatic decrease in the sun's brightness during 536 and 537. We have yet another contemporary account of a historian from Constantinople. All right, here's the source. believed to be Zacharias of Meatiline, who describes in the year 14, which is 536 AD, the sun began to be darkened by day and the moon by night from the 24th of March in this year to the 24th of June in the following year 15. So it's year 14, 15 of them. Because the dimming was less severe and shorter in the duration, it is generally assumed that the atmosphere was filled with volcanic ash or dust from this event. Yet there is still another strange theory, a theory that strangely comes into play this October, November. Remember, we're talking about being in this meteor shower, right? We're just talking what? Meteor shower, right? Meteor shower, right? Okay, all right, let's go. Where we at? No. Yep. Meteor shower, right? We're just talking about the dragon. We're just talking about the angels, man. Don't even trip. We'll get it. So you're talking a war in heaven, right? Angelic war, dragon war. If you can have a war of angels, you can have a war of dragons. It's just that, we got this mind block brainwash when we're using these titles and we've been, triggered a certain way. But you got to, release all that and know that the dragons are fighting with you. The dragons are fighting for you. And this is what they're preparing their black budget military operations for. Not to fight you, my naga, but to fight your dragons. Because every naga got a dragon. Every naga got a dragon. Every fierce, violent person, violent against the invader, violent against anybody hijacking your land, fierce, violent person, male or female, this man or woman is a dragon. Body bag for the illusion. So we're talking about this toroid. Almost sound like Torah. Meteor shower, dragon shower. Now here's the interesting perspective, right? This is, however, there have been intense meteor storms that lead to legends. And I guess this is supposed to be one of these meteor showers. When I see this flattened out stuff, it just looks like a dragon, sort of had kind of a crash landing. I mean, kind of like did a roll or something, you know what I'm saying? Flattened out some trees and kept it pushing. You don't see no big, huge, deep ditch, you know what I'm saying? You just see something that got rolled on, you know what I mean? Meteor storms that led to legends of dragons fighting in the sky. So we talk angelic wars, or we also talking dragon war? Breathing fireballs at each other. Now this got me thinking about that Dragons in the Throne link that we were digging on, the solar flares. And basically on that link, it was talking about, this researcher was talking about the solar flares are what they expect every time these comets come around or dragons come around. And these solar flares are fireballs from the dragon, man. They're calling them solar flares from the sun, 96 million miles away. It must be, another solar flare hit the earth. And don't make it an X-type solar flare or this type solar flare. It might scorch the whole earth. These are dragons. And the crazy thing, I'm going to get back to this. Matter of fact, let me finish this first. So these dragons are what? Dragons fighting in the sky, breathing fireballs at each other. What are solar flares exactly? Chinese historical records from 540 describe dragons fought in the pond of Cuzco. They went westward. In the places they passed, all trees were broken. Yeah. All right, then they went to ice core samples contain extraterrestrial dust, angelic dust from this period as well. It is argued that a larger meteor struck the Earth about this time, and this is what is described as dragons fighting in the sky. Dragons everywhere. And he goes, more. And of course, we always bring up Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Because you got these two angels that supposedly destroyed these, two cities, you know what I mean? But really now you can just see it clearly. These are two dragons. And if one dragon can protect the whole kingdom, two dragons can definitely destroy two cities, you know what I'm saying? Which are most likely located at the Dead Sea. All right, we just been digging on them Dead Sea scrolls and visions of Amram, prophecy of Joshua. We're going to get back on that Psalm of Joshua too, and the words of Moses. All right, so most likely located at the Dead Sea, may have been destroyed by debris from a dragon comet. Startling new archaeological and astronomical research suggests that the Dead Sea is famous for its extreme salinity, 34% salt. And that got us, going back into them Utah, Salt River, Great Salt Lake as the real Dead Sea. The argument remains that there was simultaneous fall the old kingdom of ancient Egypt, the Sumerian civilization in Mesopotamia, and the Harappan civilization of the Indus valleys. All these civilizations fell simultaneously. In total, some 40 cities are thought to have disappeared in a series of catastrophes. Many astronomers believe that the Earth was bombarded by a particular dense storm of meteorites over a couple of centuries at every 2,500 years. Meteorites, or dragons. And of course, we keep, going back to the reference of this researcher, Elizabeth A. Warner, doing the recon into dragons as meteors or comets, leading us to the water. That when they talk comet, they are really talking a star with a tail, beard, or tangled locks. Yeah, this is, 1955 written down talking about these aerial meteors, that they have tails, beards, and dreadlocks, tangled locks. A star with a tail is what you're talking about. A star with a tail is what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. A star with a tail is what we're talking about. Let's go. Comet. Star with a tail. They argue that the biblical account found in Genesis describes how the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, which is described of a meteorite storm. A meteorite storm, right? A meteorite storm, right? Star with a tail, beard, tangled locks, shooting star. That got us back on our Tacoma side. who is also called a shooting star. His name means shooting star. So when you talk these priest kings and these dragon kings, these khans, they are very closely related with their Dracan energy. Quetzalcoatl was known to, be able to turn into a man or a dragon. Can Prester John turn into a man or a dragon? Managa, can you turn into a man or a dragon? Because a dragon is a male or female. This man or woman is a dragon if you're fierce or violent towards the hijack. Who's writing this definition in the 1828 Webster Dictionary? Meteor, dragon, star with a tail. We're just putting it all, we're just suffering this stuff as it comes. You know what I'm saying? This is a time that you need to continue to empty your cup and let it flow. See where Hawaii, is bringing the flow. You know what I'm saying? And, we ain't been missing no water, ever since we started. Drop Nation, all praise our creator. Hawaii. Interesting, part of this correlation with this Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Because again, you're just talking dragons fighting in the sky. Dragons fighting in the sky, breathing fireballs at each other. And like I said, it got me thinking about the let's see where I have it at. All right, I'll just do it like this. Only because I got to. Now this is a link. I'll leave it for the first part of this series. This is, I think, part 1. It's part 1. And in this, we picked up this link and we started digging on it. Dragons in the Throne Room. We also been digging on this from the Angels and Dragons series. Go get that as well, Angels and Dragons. Dragons in the Throne Room. Now, when you go to click on this link now, this is what you get. No results found. I told you there was some drop on this link, and I told y'all to start, photocopying this stuff off, man. Get a copy of these links, man. I might need it because I'm talking to myself. I didn't photocopy this link, but I hope somebody out there did, because we don't got no more link. You see it up here, Dragons in the Throne Room. So I had to go back to this drop because at least it had this part up that I wanted to read. And again, we ain't got this link no more, man. They taking down all these links, man. Right after these videos drop, they start attacking the links. So get them quick. You know what I mean? Print them out. Get your connection right now because it's not going to be on the internet. When you try to teach your children, when you try to teach your homies, your family, you're going to try to connect them, the way that we connected it. The path that we're taking ain't going to exist for them. That's why we keep our work, one, we keep it flowing. 2, we try to put out as much as we can because the path that you're connected, the path that Hawa's allowing us to connect it using certain links, using this internet to the best of our ability to connect to the information and each other. It's not going to exist for them like this. This path is crumbling as we rock. Just as you cross a bridge, that motherfucker fall. These links disappear. And you're going to be like, all right, let me try to explain this a different way. They're going to have to take a different path to get to where you are going. You know what I mean? So, all praise to Allah, you're on an accelerated path, man. And these are accelerating times, man. Time is speeding up like a mug. I just had my baby and my, beautiful wife, man, Chef Candy, she said, he's turning a month old tomorrow, something like that. I'm like, a month? It's been a month already? I'm looking at my second youngest boy, too. He's about to turn 5. My daughter's about to turn 10. Hey, time is speeding up like a mug, man. You better choose up and choose up in a hurry, man. This the fourth quarter, man. This the fourth quarter. So this is what I wanted to bring out, even though this link don't exist. We can at least, maybe this is the only place you can go to really get this link now. It's literally going to our drops, and, they be taking our videos, and doing all kind of stuff with them too. Videos be disappearing. So, hey, we were just talking about the year of the dragon. We said it's coming back up in 2024, right? And there's this, comet supposed to pop up around then. We got a great American eclipse crisscrossing America. And just getting it from the top, it says we stated last week that we expected the year of the dragon to come in with the sign of the dragon breathing fire, right? We're talking about dragons fighting in the sky, right? Shooting fireballs at each other, right? So the sign of the dragon breathing fire, and he said, boy, did it. So he said, well, what's the sign of the dragon breathing fire? Have you ever heard of a space hurricane? This is what NASA calls it. This is what science calls it. So you say, oh, okay, space hurricane. Oh, okay, solar flare. Okay. Solar flare is a fireball, man. Now, what's the source of the fireball? The sun that's 96 million kajillion miles away? Or a fire-breathing dragon rolling up in the area, in the ether? Dragons fighting in the sky? Who's he shooting a fireball at? Year of the dragon. The year of the dragon. So in 2024, you're going to have another, what they call it, an M9 class solar storm. Fireball. They love to the fireball. Love the fireball, Miss D. We're just talking dragons fighting in the sky, man. Dragons fighting in the sky, breathing fireballs at each other. This was the situation of this cataclysm in 540 or 536. Have you heard of a space hurricane? Some of the scientists are calling the latest M9 class solar storm just that, a space hurricane. So here's the code words. They call it a space hurricane. But the space hurricane is an M9 class solar storm or flare or dragon breathing fire, shooting fireballs in the sky. Solar storm. In our 2012 prophetic publication, Year of the Dragon, posted January 2nd, 2012, the Spirit revealed clearly that January 22nd through 25th, energy in space would impact the Earth. The space news reporter says that the highly charged particles will impact the Earth. All right. Due to a high level of energy in space impacting the Earth. High level of energy. And then, you got to think, this may not just be some fireball meant to cause destruction. This might be a fireball meant to give certain information, certain light, right? Certain what they call it, a high level of energy. This might be an energizing weapon, right? Weapon that, boost up your energy against the hijack. The heavens are always speaking, and we are learning to interpret the energetic language better and better. They're just trying to figure out what's going on, just like you, man. Just like you. So yeah, they're talking with each event as solar flares, dragons breathing fire, planetary alignments, eclipses like the Great American Eclipse, right? They signify portals being open. I mean, why did they take this link down, man? Why did they take this link down? Because we're just talking spirals, portals. These portals represent specific energies that's being released in the earth for those that have ears to hear and eyes to see, or those that can act in faith. Spirit specifically spoke, know when to sow, and give us dates, and gave us dates, January 21st, all right, to sow a dragon seed. All right, so whatever hijack, you know what I'm saying, they definitely are hitting the mark in certain areas of interpreting, you know what I'm saying, this energy as, you know, this dragon flare, this dragon seed, this fireball, these portals that are, you know, sowing seeds, man. That's when we got into these auras and this whole Northern Light situation, and it just appears to be this dragon energy, right? The dragon energy is moving across the heavens. The dragon energy is moving across the heavens. The dragon energy is moving across the heavens, man. I mean, it's up to you, man, to dig on it. It's up to you to witness. It's up to you to realize with real eyes. I mean, the picture gets clearer and clearer every time. Clearer and clearer every time. It's just play. I mean, hey, we're just surfing the wave. We're just surfing the wave with the shooting star, right? The comet. Now, I'm just belly flopping into this link from astrocoins.mrcollector.edu, digging on Tecumseh's comet, right? Napoleon's comet. Because both of them, you know, had, you know, some type of connection, you know, historically, you know what I mean, to this dragon in the sky in what they say 1811 or 1810, some say. In the words of A.Z. Utokosok, the Hungarian, the author Dr. Wadecki Jotsev writes about this comet. The tail was 90 million kilometers long. $90 million kilometers long? Wow, man. However, the apparent length of only 25, whatever that is up there, since the comet was separated by vast distances from us. So what's that, 25 degrees? The comet nucleus seemed blurred, bright disk, which was surrounded by a darker ring, only then followed by a comma, which continued into the huge tail. All right. And they commemorated this on a coin. What's it connected? How's it connecting with the Shawnee? The story is the following. In March 1811, a comet appeared to Tecumseh, whose name means shooting star, meteor, shooting star, meteor, shooting meteor, dragon. We're just talking about the Webster Dictionary, 1828. Shooting meteor, dragon. So he's, or panther, right? Like Black Panther, right? Or panther, like jaguar, right? Across the sky. So these dragons, a lot of them, what I'm saying, they had hair, right? They had even a lot of the dinosaurs are trying to say now, or they were feathered dinosaurs, right? But we're just talking about hair, right? We're just talking about a beard, tail, beard, or tangled lock, star with a tail. This is, etymologically speaking, especially when you dig it on the etymological dictionary of the Great Russian Language, Vladimir Dahl's dictionaries in 1955, one of the most authoritative dictionaries of the 19th century. Oh, when you talk meteor, it says contains the generalized definition of meteor as any atmospheric phenomena. All right, it could be aqueous, igneous, aerial, or luminous. And then you got igneous meteors such as thunderstorms, fiery pillars. The cloud by day, the fiery pillar by night led the children, in the Exodus, right? We're talking the definition of a comet, heavenly body. We got the nebulous, right? The nucleus, nebulous, transparent. They seem to have a nucleus while the surrounding area forms something like a tail, beard, or tangled locks. Star with a tail. Panther across the sky. Tecumseh. Now he's trying to unite the tribes, right? He's trying to get this alliance against the hijack. And many other tribes wanted to do treaties, right? He told the Choctaw, he told the Chickasaw, the Muskogee, and many others that the comet or dragon signaled his coming. It was reported that Tecumseh would prove that the Great Spirit had sent him by giving them a sign. So the dragon was always connected with your High Mashiachs, your High Messenger. Shortly after Tecumseh left the southeast, the sign, remember we were talking about the mark? Getting linky. The mark, the tau is the mark or the sign. The dragon is the tau, man. The dragon is the cross, man. The fire, the water, the ether, the earth, the elements, the cross is the tau, is the mark, is the sign, arrived in the form of a major earthquake, all right, during the next year, tensions between, so we know with these, whether you're talking the sinking of Atlantis, Noah's flood, the flood of 899, 536 event, 81011, man, I mean, either you're talking all the same thing, remember, the time shifts, 333 years, 1,054 years, and 1778. So this could all be the same event if your history got pushed back 1,800 years. Or you could talk about a reoccurring event, a cyclical event, dealing with the dragons as these signs of this, cyclical situation of catastrophe. But, we're just digging out Tecumseh, right? Because you need to know when we talk Tecumseh, we're talking Israel. You need to know when we talk Tecumseh, man, we're talking Israel. It's important to overstand that when you talk Tecumseh, we're going to dig a little bit on this book right here, this great book that Ty Battle dropped on us. And I believe the PDF is on the site. If not, I'll be going through it within the next couple of weeks while we're on a hiatus, a levitation, a little break into November 15th, man. So we popping off November 15th back in the ether. live on, you know what I'm saying, the Drop Radio Flow, the app, the site, you know what I mean? Every day, tribal members are dropping drop, reading books, connecting it, man, dropping their music, you know, connecting the flow, you know, popping off November 15th. So check it. Ty Battle dropped this Tecumseh and the Prophet of the West, right? An historical Israel-Indian tragedy. So clearly the author, this George Jones, knows when you're talking to Indian, you're talking Israel. It's not a stretch. It's not craziness. Hebrew artifacts are all up under us. And none of these so-called natives, Hollywood Indians, can tell us whose they are, where they come from. They can't talk about the mounds. They can't talk about Kalalus. They can't talk about none of these treasures. Remember we talked about the Chumash and all these treasures from Mu, the Sphinx, Santa Monica Mountain Sphinx. They can't talk about none of this stuff because this is the ancient world. And you are the ancient ones that was put to sleep. And now they're taking your titles and calling themselves Indian. Oh, we're the ancestors of Tecumseh. They're taking your prophets. They're taking your titles. They're taking your land, your inheritance. And it got deeper, man. It got deeper, man, because go get this drop. This was part one of another, you know, fantastic series, Love the Draw Nation, because the success of these series is based on you. You know what I mean? Your participation, how you sharing it, how you flowing with it. So, you know, you're doing the right, you know what I mean? You know, just giving off the right energy in order to make it something that connects. You know what I mean? So I appreciate your connection because this is the flow of the Khan dynasty. Man, for, you know, the steady energy drop nation. The Israel Indian tragedy of Tecumseh. And this is a great drop, man. Go dig on it. I got to go back through it myself, man, just to enjoy it and connect it with more, you know, to do with this, you know, 536 flood catastrophe, you know, 899 flood catastrophe, all the above. But you dig on it. Let's get a few minutes of this. America, oh, okay, I like that. Let go. It starts talking about this author's historical work upon the life of Tecumseh, right? The comet, the meteor, named to be used for South and Central America. Okay. It goes into the Aboriginals wrongly named Indians by Columbus, because these are Israelites, man. Let's get the first couple little, you know, paragraphs here in the prefatory remarks to the forthcoming work upon the chieftain, priest king, Prester, Tecumseh, shooting star, shooting meteor. The following language is used, and we avail ourselves of the privilege of extracting from our own storehouses materials for the commencement of this new historical campaign. A courteous reader in tracing the fate of Tecumseh as depicted in the pages of his life will not fail to observe the strong analogy between the religious settlements of the chief of the forest, Khans, and those of the ancient Hebrews. You will not fail to observe, my naga, the strong connection, the analogy, the connection between these indigenous people of the forest and the ancient Hebrews. Copper color race is found here. The language as uttered by Tecumseh is not written by the pen of fiction, merely to uphold a theory of the brain, but gathered from the archives of a people's history to support a theory of apparent truth. The present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aboriginals of North America, not North America only, and the ancient Israelites are identical. Again, the present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aborigines of America, North America, and not North America only, are the ancient Israelites. The Aboriginals are the Israelites. The Aboriginals are the Israelites. The Aboriginals are the Israelites. Let go. It's kind of loaded. We're going to get back in this racism, man, as well, man. Where it's talking about, these Aboriginals. So when we talk Tecumseh, man, I just want to nail it on home that we're not spitballing here. We're not, trying to make something that is not here. This is not a pen of fiction. All right? We're just talking about a truth, of a connection, of the Aborigines or the originals of America connected to the empire of David, the empire of the forever Khan of Prester John, the fountain of youth, a heritage, an inheritance that is yours forever. Life, not death. There ain't no such thing as death, not to the immortal flow, the children. You're the image. You're the image of forever, man. How can you be mortal? You're dead. The ancient Israelites are identical with the aboriginal, original, autochthonous Naga, Dragon. You're talking the ancient Hebrews. You're talking Tecumseh. So this comet or this dragon, remember his name means dragon, has everything to do with the ancient Hebrews. Has everything to do with the Israelites. And you ain't got to hear from me, but you will. Press the job, and now you're getting it from another substantiating source. Let go. That the Aboriginals are the Israelites. The Aboriginals, the Presters, right? All right. Yeah. Are the Ame'rican. The Ame'rican are the Israelites, and they are the what? Copper color race. My Naga, we're just talking about you. Let's go. The Israel Indian tragedy, man. You go get the drop. We're talking about the mark, the sign. We're talking about the tile, the mark, the sign. The sign, man, we got dragons fighting in the sky, man. I mean, apparently it's all happened. Just something I'll drop quickly on you, and then we'll make a nice dismount into sacred geometry, man. Y'all want to get into a little spirit science, man? Remember spirit science, man? Yeah, man. Let's see some spirit science, man, with a 360-degree perspective. Dragon flitter. Love to Miss D. I told you, man. Love the fireball. Milwaukee, stand up. Texas, stand up. Now you got the Cheruve, they say, is a Chilean spirit of comets and asteroids. Uh-oh. I can't make this shit up. So there's actually a creature that is called the Cheruve of Chile, all right? A spirit of the comets. Don't it look like a dragon? Tail. Let's go. Now, of course, this is just a little foo-foo drawing of it. So what are we really talking about? Comets are dragons. Now, I told you there's a connection with these dragons and these volcanoes, right? The Cheruve's role has since expanded to include lava, volcanoes. So what's the ring of fire really about? What spiritual energy is popping off? What angelic energy is popping off? So you pull up this link, and it's going to connect all this with the Andes. In the Andes, it becomes a huge 7-headed dragon. Elsewhere, it is confused with dragons, devils, giants, bipedal goats with flaming eyes. Cheruves live underground and in volcanoes. When you see volcanoes popping off, what's really popping off? The more dragon-like cheruves may demand the sacrifice of Mapuche maidens. You remember what movie was that we were just talking about, where they were putting their little virgin daughters on these boats and, trying to sacrifice them to these dragons. Or even I Am Dragon, check out I Am Dragon. This is what some of these hijacks was doing. Because they was getting, obliterated, by these energies of Hawaii that was plaguing their land. They were getting plagued by dragons. So they started sacrificing to the dragons so the dragons could calm down. Remember, you got dragons on both sides of the war. So some dragons wanted to be worshipped, right? Some dragons said, I am your creator. I'm going to create my own thing. And okay, now you got them type of, energies, right? So comets, asteroids, and meteors are all cheruves, as are meteorites and oddly shaped volcanic rocks. Cheruve rocks are collected by sorcerers who use them to carry out their evil purposes by sending them at their enemies. They are ordered to suck blood and inflict death and disease and can operate on their own, returning diligently to their masters after performing their duties. All right, we're talking about their mythology, right? One cheruve married a cloud, and their beautiful daughter, ethereal and pale, was snow. So the spirit of the cloud, just like Jubilees, right? Spirit of the rain, spirit of the frost, spirit of the cloud. All this is dragon energy. So dig on it. I'm just bringing some of the stuff out. We're just bringing some of the stuff out. At the end of the day, it's up to you to connect the angel and the dragon, man. And this is a great little thread that was digging on, very pertinent recon. For the past year, I've been thinking about this. What do angels do? They watch over humans and guide society. What do Eastern dragons do? They watch over humans and guide society. Think about it. Asians believe that at the center of the earth rests the eternal dragon. What also rests at the near center of the earth? Hell does. I've even heard from many near-death experiencers that the said Satan was a dragon. Wasn't Satan once a rogue angel? Lucifer, the rogue angel. If Satan is an angel and a dragon, then other angels are dragons too. The Eastern belief was that dragons were holy beings that watched over humans and guided us, the same thing that angels do. I believe that the angel image we have is a personification and symbolism rather than the actual reality. Now, real dragons, real angels must be dragons. Now, in the past, we have many pictures and images of dragons all around the world, but no recordings of dragons actually going extinct or mass killings of dragons. They never died because they weren't mortal creatures. If you're thinking of some of the more evil-looking dragons, I'm not saying that all types of dragons were holy, just certain ones. And I'm not saying that all types of dragons were evil, right? Just certain ones, right? And there was a nice response to it. I shared your same thoughts about the connection between dragons and angels only a few years later, or ever since, have been researching this intriguing subject and can say you are right about your conclusions. If you go to those threads mentioned by Frogfish, you will see the connection between dragons and angels. I'm just completing a fairly massive book on this subject and will contain footnotes to all the original sources and photographs of actual artifacts that substantiate the claims I make. It is pointless to argue whether or not God and his angels are dragons and dragons are real, but my book does prove, as the original scriptures themselves, that both the early Christians and Jews or Hebrews understood that dragons were a kind of heavenly servant creatures to Ahchwa. This is beyond dispute. The original Hebrew text proved this, and we see an exact parallel in the other religions and the regions of these same dragons serving the same functions. Even the greatest theologians of the Catholic Church acknowledge dragons are heavenly creatures in the past. So even the Catholic Church originally had to acknowledge that these dragons are heavenly creatures, angelic, seraph creatures, right? But have changed their views to kowtow to modern sensibilities. But their writings confirming the original church views on dragons have not been destroyed and are accessible, some even on the internet. In more modern times, various Christian denominations have rewritten the Bible, vainly attempting to wipe out all traces of the heavenly dragons. But it is a hopeless task, because they cannot rewrite the original scripture in Hebrew. Plus, new archaeological discoveries, including whole books of scripture, which the Catholics tried to destroy, only add more evidence of the dragons, which curiously appear in virtually every other world culture as well, and rarely as a symbol of evil, but rather power and wisdom. Power and wisdom, man. Power, wisdom. You know, you can pull this link up that we dug on from Angels and Dragons, either one or two, I think, part 1 or 2 of the series. And this is just going over, certain scripts, digging on dragons, man. Of course, that second Baruch 73. Of course, the second Baruch chapter 73. We're just talking prophecy, right? And it will happen that after he has brought down everything which is in this world and has sat down in eternal shalom on the throne of the kingdom, and then joy will be revealed and rest will appear, and then health will descend in dew and illness will vanish. We're talking about paradise, my naga. Health will descend in dew. You're talking about living water. Illness will vanish, and fear and tribulation and lamentation will pass away from among men. And joy will encompass the earth, and nobody will again die untimely, nor will any adversity take place suddenly. We're talking paradise in 2 Baruch, chapter 73, verse 4. Unjust judgment, condemnations, contentions, revenges, blood, passion, zeal, hate, and all such things will go into condemnation, since they will be uprooted. For these are the things that have filled this earth with evils, and because of them, life of men came in yet greater confusion. And the wild beasts will come from the wood and serve men, and dragons will come out of their holes to subject themselves to a child. So you got the asps and the dragons, right? And you're seeing these dragoons popping off everywhere, out the volcanoes, out the water, out the ether. Dragons will come out of their holes, man, their volcanoes, right? To subject themselves to a child. Who's the child? Who are the children? You think all these dragons are submitting themselves just to a child or to the children? Every naga got a dragon. And it's paradise, my sisters, because women will no longer have pain when they bear. No more pain when you bear our seeds. Nor will they be tormented when they yield the fruits of their womb. Yeah, my sisters, this is paradise. When you see your dragons popping off, coming out of their holes to subject themselves to a child, you're talking paradise in 2 Baruch. You're talking paradise. And what's it say right here? What are the references to dragons in the Bible? Surprisingly, the word dragon occurs 21 times in the Old Testament as the King James Version, considering that the Bible was first translated into English way before the word dinosaur was invented. Now they call them dinos. Before they were all dragons, whether they were flying or on land. This was when scientists described large reptiles as dragons. Other terms in scripture that relate to dragons include serpents and beasts. So when you see the term serpent in the scripture, you're talking dragon, man. Yeah, serpent in the garden. Yeah, you have a dragon in the garden. It must be an angelic creature because it's in the Garden of Eden. How did a dragon get in the garden if it's not an angel? And when it was then cursed to be on its belly and crawl, it could no longer fly. In fact, dragons and serpents were often representations of the devil and demons that would confront the people of God in conflict and temptation. Well, dragons was often a representation of angels before it was being just represented and demonized by this so-called Western culture. But we're just talking the hijack that's invading the so-called West, invading it with their philosophy about you, calling you the dragon, my nugget, calling you the dragon. This male or female, man or woman, is a dragon because they're fierce and violent. Yeah, man. Let's go. Ezekiel 29:3. Speak to him and say, this is what Ahchwa says. I am against you, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, you great monster lying among your streams. You say the Nile belongs to me. I made it myself. So they pretty much call him this dragon that's lying among the streams. Remember, there's dragons on both sides of the war. Son of man, take up the lament concerning Pharaoh, king of Egypt, saying to him, you are like a lion among the nations. You are like a monster in the seas. Another comparison to a dragon in the sea, thrashing about in your streams. Churning the water with your feet, muddying the streams, talking about a Leviathan, right? Isaiah 27, in that day, Ahchwa will punish with his sword, his fierce, great, powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding dragon. Leviathan, the coiling dragon. He will slay the monster of the sea. The Most High will slay the monster of the sea, will slay the dragon. Why will Leviathan be slayed? You know what I mean? Just think about that. We're going to come right back to it. Isaiah 51, awake, arm of Ahchwa, clothe yourself with strength. Clothe yourself with strength. Awake as in the days gone by, as in the generations of old. Was it not you who cut Rahab to pieces, who pierced the dragon? Who pierced the dragon? Who pierced the dragon? Because later they're going to talk about, another piercing, right? In the New Testament, someone else gets pierced. Nah, he's just representing the dragon. Job 7, am I the sea or the dragon of the deep that you put me under guard? I mean, this is what this researcher is leading us to, that when we're seeing this monster, for the most part, when we're seeing this, what else they call it, serpent, right? Job 41, its breath sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth. Now we're talking about Leviathan again, right? Remember Leviathan, right? Why is he slayed? Why is Leviathan sacrificed? Remember, someone else gets sacrificed. In the New Test, someone else gets pierced. In the New Test, someone else gets sacrificed. In the New Test, who's stealing the dragon flow? Who's jacking Leviathan flow? And David flow? And Ezekiel flow? and Moshe flow and Joshua flow. Who's this super naga that's now being pierced, sacrificed? Let's go. Psalms 18. Smoke rose from his nostrils, consuming fire came from his mouth, burning coals blazed out of it. This is referring to Hawa directly and specifically. Hawa has fire coming out of his mouth and smoke out of his nose in Psalms 18. Because he is coming to David's defense. He is defending and guarding Dawi, Psalms 44. But you crushed us and made us a haunt for jackals. These jackals, remember the tannins and tannim? Tan and tananim. The tan and tannim, one refers to jackals, one to dragons. When you deal with the Hebrew, these particular, adjectives. But the jackal, is also being mistranslated because it's really referring to dragons. But you crushed us and made us a hunt for dragons. You covered us over with deep darkness. Psalm 74. And it was you who split open the sea by your power. You broke the heads of the dragon in the water. In the water. Right now you got Revelations, phantom, a duplication. And you got this new dragon that's supposed to be being slayed, right? Other than Leviathan being slayed, you got another dragon in Revelations being slayed. The red dragon, right? Leviathan was also, described as having 7 heads in some documents. And this dragon is talking about having 7 heads over here. This piercing, right? Look, he comes with the clouds and everyone will see him, even those who pierced him. Pierced him. Pierced him. Was it not you who cut Rahab to pieces, who pierced that monster through? Another piercing, but now we're just referring to the dragon who pierced him. All people of the earth will mourn because of him. All right. This beast will come up from the abyss, will attack him, overpower, will kill him. Deuteronomy 32, their wine is the venom of dragons, the deadly poison of cobras, dragons. Here's this red dragon in Revelations. Another sign appeared in heaven, enormous red dragon. 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns. Get the drop. You got the Lamb's Book of Life. The Lamb's Book of Life. The Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. Who was sacrificed? What beast? All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast. All whose names have not been written in the Lamb's Book of Life. The Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. Now we can dig on. Are we just talking Leviathan that was slain from the creation of the world? And it goes on and on when you got all this drop in the script about these dragons, man. But let's ask the question, man, because we're talking about a dragon being slain from the creation of the world. This great dragon. The Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world, pierced and slain, right? Leviathan, the gliding dragon, Leviathan, the coiling dragon, he will slay the monster of the sea. Hawa will punish with his sword, right? Slay the monster of the sea. You remember we was digging on this sacred text, right? Digging on this Leviathan. Now this is, remember, it said what? Pierced from. Let's go back to the duplication. Yosef, what it do? Yosef, what it do? Who's the lamb that was slain from the creation of the world? Is it Jesus? Or we're just talking about a dragon that was pierced, a dragon that was slain from the what? The creation of the world. The first things created, right? First day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. On the fifth day of creation, Hawa took fire and water, and out of these two elements he made the fish of the sea. The animals in the water are much more numerous than those on land. For every species on land, excepting only the weasel, there is a corresponding species in the water, and besides, there are many found only in water. The ruler over the sea animals is Leviathan. Now, why was Leviathan slain? Leviathan, the gliding dragon, he will slay the monster, the dragon of the sea, this dragon of the sea. Why is this dragon of the sea sacrificed, pierced? The lamb, right? The lamb that was slain from the creation of the world. So let's dig on the creation of the world. Let's dig on day number 5. The ruler over the sea animals is Leviathan. With all the other fish, he was made on the 5th day. Originally, he was created male and female like other animals. But when it appeared that a pair of these dragons might annihilate the whole earth with their united strength, God killed the female. So enormous. So one of these Leviathan was slayed from the creation of the earth right away. God, Hawa, killed the female. So enormous is Leviathan that to quench his thirst, he needs all the water that flows from the Jordan into the sea. So they keep saying all these disappearing waterways and, disappearing, seas just disappearing. All right. His food consists of fish which go between his jaws on their own accord. When he is hungry, hot breath blows from his nostrils, and it makes the waters of the great sea seething hot. Formidable though Behemoth, the other monster, is, he feels insecure until he is certain that Leviathan has satisfied his thirst. The only thing that can keep him in check is a stickleback, a little fish which was created for the purpose. So Hawa created this little stickleback just to keep Leviathan in check. All right. And of which he stands in great awe. But Leviathan is more than merely large and strong. He is wonderfully made. Besides, his fins radiate brilliant light. So they try to relate this to a devil, right? Just like they put you in that category. But listen up to this sacrifice, this lamb that was sacrificed from the creation of the world. His fins radiate brilliant light. The very sun is obscured by it, and also his eyes shed such splendor that frequently the sea is illuminated suddenly by it. No wonder that this marvelous beast is the plaything of Hawa. This is his pet. So when you go to Job 41, can anyone else, hook the mouth of Leviathan and tame him? He's the plaything. He's the pet, right? He's the flow, right? In whom he takes his pastime. There is but one thing that makes Leviathan repulsive, his foul smell, which is so strong that if it penetrated thither, it would render paradise itself an impossible abode. So that's why he has to be kept down there, because it'll be impossible to live with that smell. If this sea fish, this giant sea fish, popped up. Remember when you talk dragon and etymology, it brings you right into the giant sea fish. Etymology online, right? You got this dragon, huge serpent from the Greek drakon. Serpent, what does it say here? Giant sea fish. So before you be like, why is a dragon a giant sea fish? Oh, Leviathan, giant sea fish. Got it. All right. Now, where's this? Okay, here we go, right here. So the real purpose, so again, why is Leviathan slayed, right? Because you can just say it and move on. Isaiah 27, Leviathan is gliding dragon, coiling dragon. Ahchwa, he will slay the monster of the sea. Is he a bad boy? Why is he getting slayed? Well, we know that the female got slayed right away because two of these enormous giant sea fish would be too much, man, for the earth. So, Ahchwa slayed the female first, but just listen up to the, the order of things, man. The order of things. The real purpose of Leviathan is to be served up as a dainty to the pious or the righteous in the world to come. Why is Leviathan slayed? The gliding Leviathan. Why is he slayed? Why was he sacrificed? Now you got another sacrifice going on, right? In this new test, right? Now you got this other sacrifice popping off that's pierced. I mean, when you really let it, sink in, man, it's a brilliant job that the hijack did, weaving all this into, one story and one thing and all these elements. I mean, the shit is, damn near genius. Damn near. Because Leviathan, that they say is being called the devil, right? Even in etymology. Because, dragon, we're just talking to see clearly. The Hebrew tannin, a great sea monster. And then you got Tan, a desert mammal now believed to be the jackal. So when you see a jackal, that's Tan. Tannin, dragon. Tannanim, multiple dragons. Tannim with an M would be multiple jackals. You put a plural tannim with an M, multiple jackals. Tannin, singular is tannin. Tannanim will be multiple dragons. But you see how that language trickery, because you're just talking the dogs, right? Dog-headed, cynocephalous jackals hijacking the dragon flow. So when you see this tannin, remember what you got over here in North America. You got the Tango, T-A-N, which is connected with all the Mongol flow, Swords of the East, Prester John, Genghis Khan. We're just surfing the waves, man. The failure the envoys had sent to Prester John to return had decided Genghis Khan that war with the Carians was unavoidable, and the master of the horde, the order, once his mind was made up, had moved at once towards Tangut, T-A-N-G-U-T. Genghis Khan moved towards Tangut, getting that Prester John. Genghis Khan moved towards Tangut, getting that Prester John. Genghis Khan moved towards Tangut, North America, Florida, Mexico, China, India Superior. Genghis Khan moved towards Tangut, getting that Prester John. I'm talking T-A-N. And once you dig on it, once you put it together in etymology, then you see that T-A-N and you say, am I talking jackal? Or was just talking dragons? I mean, when we talk Leviathan, let's put Leviathan, the giant sea fish, right? Sea monster, sea serpent, right? Sometimes regarded as a form of Satan. Wow. So this is what they're calling the old devil. And what is it, described in Job, right? Job 41. Its breath sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth. So this dragon breathes fire. This is the Most High's plaything, right? Its snorting throws out flashes of light. Its eyes are like rays of dawn. Flames stream from its mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot of burning reeds. It sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth. Look at Behemoth, because we're just talking about this Behemoth as well in the sacred text, which I made along with you, which feeds on grass like an ox, what strength it has in its loins, with power in its muscles and belly. Its tail sway like a cedar. The sinews of its thighs are close knit. Its bones are tubes of bronze. Its limbs like rods of iron. It ranks first among the works of Ahchwa. It ranks first among the works of Ahchwa. Yet its maker can approach it with his sword. The hills bring it their produce, and all the wild animals play nearby. Now, what happened with this behemoth, man? What happened with this Leviathan and this behemoth? We already know that this sacrifice is going on. Why? The real purpose of Leviathan, who is also called what? Satan. Hijack City. We're just knowing we're talking about the dragon, right? Job 41, right? Hebrew, related to the Hebrew wreath, to bend, twist. We're talking the coiling, right? To twist. It is called a piercing and crooked serpent, right? But are we talking crooked, or are we talking twisted, or are we talking coiling? It's just a play on words, because they're going to translate and put something that's crooked. And when they say crooked, are they just talking about the coiling serpent? He will slay the monster of the sea. The coiling is the coiling serpent, the crooked serpent. So they got you thinking like he did something wrong. This crooked serpent, coiling dragon, the coiling dragon, or crooked serpent. You decide. You translate it. It's up to you, man. Let's go. Now check it. The female, again, this Leviathan is to be served up as food, man. Food for the righteous in the world to come. The female was put into brine as soon as she was killed. So the female has already been prepared as food for the righteous. Let's go. To be preserved against the time when her flesh will be needed. Kind of like that manna. Even vegans got to dig on this one, man. The male is destined to offer a delectable sight to all beholders before he is consumed. When his hour arrives, Ahchwa will summon the angels to enter into combat with the monster. All right, this is where they're getting Michael fighting the dragon in Revelations. All right, this is what's happening with these phantoms and duplications. Ahchwa will summon the angels to enter into combat with the dragon. Leviathan is who Michael went into combat with, not this red dragon business in Revelation. But no sooner will Leviathan cast his glance at them that they will flee in fear and dismay from the field of battle. No sooner when Michael, glances up. All Michael got to do is glance up. All Michael got to do is, give him that look right quick, man, and say, man, what it do? What it do? So when, or Leviathan, so when Leviathan glanced up at these angels, they will soon return to the charge with swords, but in vain. So they're going to come back with their angel swords. But for his scales can turn back still like straw. They will be equally unsuccessful when they attempt to kill him by throwing darts and slinging stones. For what are darts and stones today? Missiles, right? Such missiles will rebound without leaving the least impression on his body. What are they preparing for? What's happening in there underground? Black ops, science laboratories that they're putting all this money into preparation for what? To fight you? Yeah. But what comes with fighting you? Scales that turn back still like straw. Missiles rebounding without leaving the least impression on the bodies of these angels, these guardian dracons. Now check it out, because remember, the female was put in the brine, the female Leviathan. The male is to offer delectable sight to all beholders before he's consumed. When his last hour arrives, Ahchwa will summon the angels to enter into combat with him. Now you got Michael and the angels in Revelations, right? But as soon as Leviathan looks up with them fiery eyes, remember what the etymology of dragon is again? We got Leviathan. To see clearly, it also says what? The one with the deadly glance. I can't make this shit up. So Leviathan glances up at Michael and these angels, man. You know what I'm saying? These angels of Ahchwa with this. Remember, Ahchwa created this as this super duper dragon, right? So he got Michael and his dragons that rock with him, but you got to understand the power of Leviathan, man. And that's why Ahchwa uses him as an example in Job 41. Like, can you tame this beast? Because not even my angels can tame this beast. This is my beast. This is my dragon. Perhaps in the literal sense, the one with the deadly glance, man. Because he got fire coming out of his eyes, man. Fire, man. Let's go. But no sooner will Leviathan cast his glance at them that they will flee in fear and dismay from the field of battle. Then they come back, but to no avail. Disheartened, the angels will give up the combat. Michael and them say, nah, man, I gotta let Ahchwa handle this. And what does Ahchwa do? Ahchwa will command Leviathan and Behemoth, which we just read about in Job 40, to enter into a duel with each other. Now you can dig on that Mud Fossil University drop, right? Yeah, man. The issue would be that both will drop dead, Behemoth slaughtered by a blow of Leviathan's fins, and Leviathan killed by a lash of Behemoth's tail. All right. For the skin of Leviathan, Ahchwa will construct tents to shelter companies of the righteous, pious, while they enjoy the dishes made of his flesh. The amount assigned to each of the pious will be in proportion to his deserts, and none will envy or begrudge the other his better share. What is left of Leviathan's skin will be stretched over Jerusalem as a canopy. Remember the scripture in Isaiah 40? You know what I'm saying? Talking about stretching out the heavens like a tent. Shamayim stretched it out like a tent. I beat it out with my right hand. Rakwa, I beat it out. I meted out the firmament. Come on, man. Look, if he got scales that repel missiles, what does his skin really do with this firmament situation? Huh? We're talking about, hold up, man. We're talking about a lamb, right? The lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. Day number 5. So when was the firmament set up? Because you got this angels trying to slay him for this, you know what I'm saying, to feed the righteous at the appointed time. His skin is turned into a canopy. And what does this canopy got to do with this tent? I stretched it out like a tent, like a tent, like a tent. No, I don't want that one. I want Isaiah 40, man. Let me just go to it. Let me stop being lazy, man. Like a tent. I mean, you know, I'm just connecting this now, man, in real time, man. So, you know, we've been digging on it. I wanted to get into some spirit science, sacred geometry, but I'll probably say that for the next flow. You know, don't even trip, man. You know, we're just letting the Ruach flow, man. Let's get Isaiah 40. No, where we at? There we go. All right. We are in the JPS Tanakh. Talking about canopies and tents. So we are in Isaiah chapter 40. We're in verse 22. It is he that sits above the circle of the earth, right? We're talking about the vault or this round dome or firmament. We're not talking about a ball, because he can say ball if he wants to, right? He's not sitting on a ball earth, but above the circle. So a ball is not a circle. So when you think circle, just put the circle down flat. And now you have this situation like the Antarctica wall that is surrounding us like a circle. It is he that sits above the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers that stretch out the heavens, Shamayim, as a curtain, and spreads them out as a tent to dwell in. And other scripts would say as a canopy, right? So we got this canopy, we got this tent, and I'm just asking, is this the same canopy and tent that's stretched out over Jerusalem as a canopy with Leviathan skin? And are you just talking about the scales, the same scales that what? For his scales can turn back steel like straw. And they've been trying to blow missiles through this stuff forever, right? Such missiles will rebound without leaving the least impression on his body. Is the firmament made out of Leviathan scales? And what will happen with Leviathan's, illuminated, manna flesh, you know what I mean? Is the manna Leviathan skin? I mean, we're talking about the righteous eating manna. What's the manna for real, man? Prepared by Ahchwa and Leviathan killed by a lash of Behemoth's tail. All right, so for the skin of Leviathan, Ahchwa will construct tents to shelter the companies of the righteous. Tents to shelter the companies of the righteous. That stretch out the heavens as a curtain and spreads them out as a tent to live in. Let's keep getting this last part for the dispel. Stretched over Jerusalem as a canopy, and the light streaming from it will illuminate the world. So we're talking about the days of creation, right? So before there was a sun, you know, some people say, you know, one day is 1,000 years, right? So if it's not just literally 7 days, and if it's 7,000 years we're talking about, you know, however you want to dig on it, you have a time period without a sun or a moon, right? Let there be light. What's the light? Illuminating the world. Anything to do with Leviathan skin? And what is left of his flesh after the righteous, the pious have appeased their appetite will be distributed among the rest of men. Now the rest of the world can eat. After the righteous eats, everybody else can eat. I mean, but you better be striving. You better be trying to be good. All right. I mean, this is a very interesting thing, man, with this Leviathan drop, man. And we're just talking about the angels, the frequency. The angels. You know, this whole connection with this angel in the tree of knowledge, the angel in the garden, the seraph. The seraph are described in Isaiah 6 as being immensely close to Hawa, glory for Hawa, whose sole purpose is to display that glory. So the sole purpose of the highest order of the dragons is to glorify the Creator. They have how many? 6 wings. 2 cover their eyes, 2 cover their feet, and 2 to fly with. I always imagined them as humans, and they were always described as being a very top of the different orders of angels. You got the seraph, the cherubim, archangels. So over Michael and the archangels, you got the cherubim. Now you got a representative of Israel over the children on this level. Then you got the seraph, and you got a representative over Israel, the children on this level. You got second Baruch, where the dragons are coming out of their holes to subject themselves to the children, man. I mean, when I say we're surfing the wave, man, from Baruch to Isaiah, you're dead. Interesting thing is the word seraphim literally means fiery serpent and is translated in the most locations, including Numbers 21. Remember when the fiery serpents are being, plaguing Israel? We're talking the fire-breathing dragons with wings. Sounds to me like a dragon. So the seraphim are not some angelic human beings with wings. Instead, they are huge, fiery, 6-winged dragons. Yeah, man. Some other comments you can dig on, and continue to dig on is the comet of 1901. The dragon of 1901, man. Looking at that again, man. These links are going, man. Or we're talking solar storms, right? Solar flares, yeah, the dragon. And I definitely want to dig on, this Takata clan and get into, a lot of this. Because again, the Tau is the sign. The sign is the comet, the eclipse. The signs in the sky is the sign. Is you, are the seraph, are the meteors, right? Angel of the highest order. Angel of the highest order. Huge, fiery, 6-winged dragons. So the seraph are not some angelic humans with wings. We're talking about dragons. And if we're talking about dragons as being the seraph, well then, my goodness, you're also talking about dragons as being the highest order. The highest order of these so-called angels, right? connected with the shooting star, the copper color races. Ahchwa to the home team. It's found here. And these copper colored these cons, like caramels drop left with these cons, these of my yak. Let's get it again. So much drop going down in the neighborhood, man. Oh yeah. Tiplar got us flying. Tiplar, drop, chatter. Chatter. What to say again? The title cons. This title given by the Mayas to their rulers. So the Khan is a title given by the Maya of their rulers, which is the Khan, which is the copper color or swarthy, right? Benjamin Franklin's telling you everybody here is swarthy. The only white people are the English and Saxons, but everybody else is a swarthy complexion, copper color, tawny. So when we talk meteor, man, for the dismount, then we're going to maybe get a couple minutes from these videos. When we talk meteor, man, just remember, pull up this link, dragons as meteors or comets. And when they're talking meteor, man. My first reaction to the question, do the Russians traditionally equate meteors with dragons? We're talking the Rus, right? Later, I realized that I had no clear idea what a meteor was. After reading the available material, I came to the conclusion that the Russian folklore sources are equally confused. Lack of a precise definition of the term meteor. Oh, it's something lofty, flying high, right? Star with a tail, what do they say? Which covers usage. They're looking at the Shrivnetsky's Dictionary of Old Russian, which covers the usage in the medieval period, has no interest for meteor or comet as such, that does have one for star with a tail. So it wasn't even called meteor or comet until recently. It was just a star with a tail. What else? Which is defined as a comet or cometa in 1958. It was just called a comet. Before that, it's a star with a tail. What do you mean? The Vladimir Dahl's Etymological Dictionary of the Great Russian Language, one of the most authoritative dictionaries of the 19th century, contains that generalized definition of meteor as an atmospheric phenomenon. Meteors may thus be aqueous, igneous, aerial, luminous. Sounds like a dragon to me. What else does it say? The definition of a comet in Dow's dictionary is a heavenly body which, in comparison to others, is a huge mass. Those spheres, nebulous, transparent. Sometimes it may be seen to have a nucleus while surrounding area forms something like a tail. Beard. Yeah, it says beard, man. This comet has a tail, a beard, or tangled locks. Body bag, Daniel. Body bag for the illusion. Body bag for the illusion. Russian Etymological Dahl's Dictionary of Russian Language. Body bag for the illusion. And again, it always gets me thinking about that, classic flick, man, that classic hood flick, man. Meteor Man, you know what I'm saying? Meteor Man. I think Robert Townsend had a lot of drive, man, on that Meteor Man. I talked about the Dragon of 1901, all right, the Comet. This is another one, the Dragon of 1832, all right. You got this Bialius, all right. Reappearance of a comet in the what? The vault of heaven. The vault, right? The dome, the firmament, in the firmament, in exact accordance with prediction. It's no longer an event of uncommon occurrence because it keeps happening. It just keeps happening. The admiration and profound interest which attended the triumphant verifications of the first prediction of this kind is scarcely lessened on similar occasions as the present day, man. They're getting into these comets, these paths. The periodical comet in interest and importance is commonly known as Bella. Although rarely visible to the naked eye and often gliding through these parts of space unseen, it is nevertheless one of the most interesting of the genus. The near intersection of its orbit at this point of its descending node with the orbit of the Earth and its separation into two distinct comets, dragons, are consequences or circumstances which distinguish it widely from other comets and make it an object of considerable general interest. So it separates into two dragons? Are you trying to say it's a two-headed dragon? And this is a reappearance of, this comet that appeared in 1832. Man, clearly there's a lot of drop around this stuff, man. Clearly, especially when they say that some of these are comets are visible for hundreds of days. What comet do you see for hundreds of days, man? What comet do you see for hundreds of days? Yeah, man. We'll make a dismount with this great footage from here, man, of this Devil's Tower. And we're going to be digging on it again, Yeah, some folks say it might be in Canada. Some folks connected it with Wyoming. Either way, we know we're in the old world. We know we're just surfing the wave. And we will come back and dig on the spirit science, man. I really wanted to get on the spirit science today, this sacred geometry movie. But it's about an hour and some change anyway. So, we'll come back to this and dig on it another day, another time. We're just surfing the wave, talking about the comets. We rising, we flowing. The trees of Eden. The trees of Eden. Ahchwa. Stay up. Suit up. Choose up. Dawada.